Hi, my name is Nunziata, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. I'm also a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with FENIX's latest celebrity artist, Michael Charles. Michael is a singer-songwriter from Boston who has been writing, recording, and performing original music all over the East Coast for the last decade, playing countless clubs, venues, and festivals with several iterations of his band, Butterchild. According to his mom, Michael has been singing since birth, and he continued to do so in church and gospel choirs, and starring in musical theater shows all throughout his academic years. After experiencing the pure bliss of independently touring the country with a band for years, Michael has been looking inward, embracing this new normal we live in, and focusing on producing his own music. Here is a sneak peek of Michael Charles.
For the first time ever when I looked in your eyes, I saw no love looking back. You and I had a love that changed every season. Neither one of us could deal with the feelings of treason that came from years of growing apart.
Hello, Michael Charles. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you today, Will?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me today. And where are you coming from?
Coming from Somerville, Mass, right in Boston.
I love it.
Home sweet home.
Yes, it is. And I know you and your family very well.
Yes, indeed.
And I have been following your career for well over a decade. And Michael, you know, not to pit you against your other siblings who are all incredibly talented.
Of course.
You know how I feel about your voice. And I have seen you also in action with your band, I think a few years ago.
Yeah, a while back.
How are you doing during this quarantine in terms of, you know, being able to create music?
You know, it's been an interesting process. It's been an interesting year. It kind of, I think, took everybody by surprise, of course. So I think what we're seeing, though, certainly with myself and my peers, is that people are having to adjust to this new normal and become much more self-sufficient. And so you're seeing a rise in artists kind of creating their own home studios, which I've been working on. And
Nice.
kind of making the push to do it a little bit more yourself, a little more hands-on for some of us guys who are used to just being up front with the mic and letting other people kind of handle the technical aspect. Now you see those frontmen and those artists coming together and trying to figure out how to do it themselves. So it's been very interesting.
I know you almost have to become like a Renaissance man during this time.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's cool. And I think it opens up a lot of doors for just potential creative endeavors in the future too. So
I agree. You know, I first saw you, oh goodness, almost 15, maybe even 20 years ago.
back in the BC days.
I know, when I was at Boston College and you were still in
Yeah.
high school starring in all those musicals. When did you make the leap and decide, after, you know, starring in the gospel choirs in middle school and high school, the theater shows in middle school and high school, that you would, I don't want to say pivot, but that you would really kind of go after that dream of being a part of a rock band? I mean, how many iterations of Butterchild has there been? And two, I mean, you were incredible in that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we I mean the transition happened kind of naturally once a lot of my friends finished college and kind of moved back home, and you had a bunch of talented friends who had gone off and done their own things in college, and we just started playing together. And then a bunch of guys moved into a house together where we had a little music studio in the basement, and it just kind of happened and everyone came together. And so, yeah, of course, over the years, we've had so many iterations of what the core band is. You know, you have some people who've been there from the start and some people who have come on later on and totally changed the game. But yeah, it was a very easy, natural transition. I think I've just always loved being on stage and having that mic in my hands and having that audience in front of me. So it just was a natural move from one type of performance to another. So
And I love too, Mike, having seen you not only traverse from being a part of a band to now being a solo artist, watching you throughout the years, being able to combine all of these tools in your arsenal as a musical theater performer, as the soul of your voice that we heard during your middle school and high school days in those gospel choirs, and you fine-tuning your instrument in your university days. It seems like that during this time, you've really have taken a step back to look, as I said in your bio, within to do you on your terms.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing when you go from years of playing with a group of people that you really trust, and you have that camaraderie and that friendship and that teamwork, that brotherhood, and then to suddenly just lose all of that. It definitely took a hit, and I think a lot of people can relate, and a lot of the musicians and artists I've been speaking to over this past year of quarantine have struggled with that too, and how to kind of pick yourselves back up and get back into it, because it is a different game when you're sitting at home trying to figure out how to do it on your own, computer. So it's definitely been a process, but I think it's been really great to, as you said, and just kind of focus on the sounds you want to make and the type of art that you want to put out there. So it's been very good in that regard.
Well, Mike, you've always been so authentic and so much and an unapologetic individual within your art. And it makes me think of, what like FENIX is trying to do, which is really celebrate the individual artists and not only connecting them with other artists for possible collabs, but also fans, not only within the social media platforms that we currently have here in the States, but around the world. And, for someone whose sound and voice, literally and figuratively, I think is transcendent of language, the possibilities of connecting with new fans and artists around the world, what would that be like for you?
That's, I think, always been part of the dream, is to get, we were lucky enough to independently kind of organize our own tour of the East Coast. We went down to New Orleans, up to Chicago, did a big circle, and it was amazing. But yeah, we've always talked about getting overseas or getting our music over there. I remember years ago, we had through something on Facebook, we were able to kind of extend our reach, and we ended up getting this huge following in Venezuela out of nowhere. And it was so exciting to think that people in a completely different country, different part of the world, are vibing with what we're putting out there and liking our stuff. And then it's just a great feeling to know that people are enjoying. So anything you can do to extend that reach, to get the word out there, to get the music out there to other crowds, other demographics, like that's amazing. That's what everybody, I think, is looking for. So it's exciting.
I love it, Mike. Well, I can't wait to see what you do next. And I know that you being now, a celebrity artist at FENIX, the sky's the limit. I know that sounds so freaking corny, but the sky's the limit for you, my friend. And I'm so excited to see what you do next. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Will. It's lovely to see your face.
Oh, you too, my friend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.